What's up, everybody? Welcome to my video. This is on a Canon Maverick 1000R Super ATV Rhino 2.0 axles. When you order your axles, you're going to need two different ones. Make sure you get the driver's side and passenger side. There you got two different length spindles. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove your wheel, tire, and spacer if it applies. Make sure you also invest in decent lug nuts. Mine are fairly cheap. As you can tell, they slip a little bit in my socket there. Once lug nuts are loosened, you can go ahead and drop it down slightly so that way you can take them off and then remove the tire. Make sure you have wheel chocks in the back and a jack stand so that way nothing falls on you. As you can see, I have a spacer, so I'm going to be removing that next. So a couple things that you're definitely going to need is going to be a pry bar, a socket set, and a crescent wrench. Once you have the spacer and wheel and everything removed, you can remove the cotter pin with a pair of needle nose pliers. Now the kit comes with a new spindle nut and cotter pin, so don't worry about tearing up your old cotter pin and having to reuse your old spindle nut. Just keep them around for spares for later date if you feel like you might need them. Now I believe the spindle nut is either a 22mm or a 29mm. Just check and see what you have. But once you take that off, you'll be able to move on. So now you're going to remove the lower shock, or you're going to move the shock nut and bolt, as well as the lower A-arm nut and bolt. I'm just going to talk about a couple things I've noticed with the new axles. The SuperATV Rhino 2.0s are significantly thicker than the old ones, than the OEM axles. So if you do replace one, I would recommend replacing the other. Don't run one and then wait till the other one breaks. They're two different weights, so you're going to get a little bit of shake and unnecessary wear if you don't replace both of them at the same time. I'll also have the part numbers for each axle and where they go at the end of the video. So once you have the nuts and bolts taken out, take you a hammer or a dead blow. You might need something a little bit heftier, but to knock that lower A-arm out of the knuckle, once that drops free, you'll have a lot more articulation in the system, so that way you can get that axle out. You can use a chain, a rope, or in my case I used a ratchet strap to to pull that assembly up to a perpendicular angle to the ground, so that way the axle's straight on with the differential. You're going to need it to be that way and out of the way to be able to do what you need to do to get that axle to slide out easily. Now that you have those out of the way, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to articulate the spindle a little bit, so that way you can get the axle out of the hub. Once you get that out of the hub, what you're going to do is you're going to use the pull back and forth on the axle itself in a jerking motion. It's going to use its own weight to pull out of the differential. Once you have that out, go ahead and grab the driver's side axle. It's going to be the one with the short spindle. As you can see there, there's also a ring that comes with the packaging. You're going to set that on the end where it's cupped towards the differential. Using the same motion, you're going to knock the axle back in. Once it completely seats, then you can put the other end of the spindle back in the hub. So from there, go ahead and put the new castle nut on the end of the axle, so that way it doesn't slide out on you and cause you any other issues. Don't torque it down though. Just leave it hand tight. As I torque it down. Go ahead and release the strap. Let the assembly down, so that way you can put the lower A arm and shock back into their mounted location. Now, although I do the shock first, I recommend doing the shock second, so that way you have more articulation to be able to put the ball joint on the lower A arm back in its spot. But it works out fine for me here. But if you do need that extra room, just do the shock second. Once you have them in their positions, go ahead and put the bolts back through, so that way they don't come loose on you. At this point, go ahead and torque the nuts and bolts back down. You're going to need a dowel or a punch to keep the spindle from spinning on you while you torque down the spindle nut. Now when you do this, it is a castle nut for the so there's holes through the spindle, obviously, for the new cotter pin to go through. So you're torquing it down, but you're also making sure that the castle nut clears the hole so you can stick the new cotter pin in. Once you put the cotter pin in, you're going to use your set of needle nose pliers to bend the pin around. Once you have it pretty close, use your hammer to knock the splines out of the way. from here, reinstall the spacer and the wheels, and you're home free. Altogether, I believe this took me just under 35 minutes. So it was a fairly easy job. The only thing that I wish SuperATV would advertise which side the axles are supposed to go on, rather than saying front left and front right. I wish they would designate front driver side, front passenger side. But here they are. They're now, both sides are installed, as you can see. The quality of them feels very nice. Here's the parts list for you. As you can see, front left, front right. And thank you.